On a Saturday in South Florida, the Marlins take the field again. The Toronto Blue Jays in town. Middle game of this three-game series against the AL East. As we wrap things up here, and get ready to wrap things up, I should say. September 1st means lots of roster moves. Some guys are back. Some guys perhaps here for the first time on both sides as the Marlins look to open up the final month of the season in the win column. Lewis Brinson, he's one of those guys who's back and in the starting lineup. We are back too, but we've been on the roster all year long. Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth. Well, to say that last night was a tough one might be underselling it just a bit.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's be honest. There haven't been a whole lot of Marlins wins this year, and the ones that you get, you certainly take pride in. I know the players do as well, so does the coaching staff. And when you got one and you're holding on to it, and you got about 98.9% of the odds behind you that you're supposed to win with a 4-run lead in the ninth, and you don't, it stings a bit.
Yeah, what he's referring to is that over 23,000 times in Major League history, a team has had a 4-run lead going into the ninth inning, and only 263 times has a team lost the game. Unfortunately for the Marlins, it's happened twice this year, and there have been some rough ninth innings along the way. We begin with one of the two for the Marlins this year was back in May against the Atlanta Braves when they gave up 6 runs.
Well, and listen, there's one theme with all the games that we see, obviously, here in the Braves. Obviously, you're going to see this one. This is the Rays. This is the Grand Slam in Tampa. It's a walk-off as well. You know, walks are part of it. Momentum's part of it. I mean, there's a lot of words that I can use to describe kind of what happens as a team starts to fall apart late in a ball game. But what I can tell you is this. Last night probably stings even more because you felt like you were in control. You were down to the last strike, and you actually made your pitch. And you watch somebody who can impact the game with one swing of the bat do just that outside the strike zone in Smoke. I think in the other instances, it was just faulty pitches and a lot of walks. And in this instance, last night, walks were certainly part of it, but you had a big swing from Smoke.
So we move forward, but not without looking back as well at the best month in the career of Wei-Yin Chen. Yes, that's right. He had the best single month of at least 4 starts in his career, pitching to a 1.54 ERA in August.
Yeah, it's been great to see. And listen, there's been some good road starts in there as well. Now listen, Marlins Park has been fantastic. We call him Cy of the Marlins Park, or at least I do anyway. He's been that good at home and was the last time he faced the Braves in this ballpark. Dominant stuff. 10 strikeouts, great fastball command. He knows how this park plays and loves to be aggressive.
All right, well, we love to be aggressive when it comes to roster moves, and September 1st is the day for that. Who's here? Who might still be coming in the next week or so? Call-ups and roster moves with Craig and Nelly. Other side of the break. Just a few minutes, but first out to center field to recap a busy September 1st. Guys?
Yeah, it's busy around baseball. Thank you, Paul, because September 1st is the day that rosters expand. The Marlins certainly took full advantage of that. We'll see some guys. We'll get a good look at them. Some we have seen and some we haven't.
Yeah, a few guys are going to come off the DL as well. Like Martin Prado's coming off the DL. Lewis Brinson's going to come off the DL. This is a year of opportunity. You see Alcantara, we saw him one time, the 5 innings, got his first win in his debut. I'm really looking forward to seeing him maybe 4 or 5 starts in September. Nick Wickren, big part of that bullpen over the last couple years. He's back up. Chad Wallach, we've seen him earlier in the year when Real Muto did not start the season on the roster. And then Jeff Brigham, how about this guy? Pitching, what, Gulf Coast, A-ball, or AA, AAA, 10-3 with a 2.36 ERA. Get an opportunity, going to make his first Major League start tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's right. Lopez, not serious, but a shoulder strain on the DL for the remainder of the season. As for Brinson, who bats second, Don Mattingly will be watching very closely when he steps into the plate.
With the quality of the at-bats, and we actually talked with Lewis about it. This last month, I think, is an important time for him to lock in, because he was starting to have really competitive at-bats where he was becoming a tougher out, and that's really what we want to see this last month.
Kind of trying to leave where I left off. Was really starting to feel well at the plate, starting to swing the bat a little bit better, having better at-bats. So just trying to build off that. Got my timing back and got going in AA and AAA when I was down there. So just trying to have a strong month of the season, or last month of the season, and continue to hopefully we can spoil some guys' seasons.
Lewis was a DH last night in AAA New Orleans. He told me he took an early flight today, and he is excited to be back here and get a final month under his plate here in his first year in the bigs. All right, coming up, it's Chen and the Marlins against the Toronto Blue Jays. Game 2 of the series is next on Fox Sports Florida.
Saturday night, it's the Blue Jays and the Marlins getting set. Wei-Yin Chen has the ball coming off a terrific start last time out. He will face the Blue Jays this time around. Lourdes Gurriel will lead things off. The rest of the Blue Jays lineup is presented to you by Southwest. Last night's hero, Justin Smoke, hits third. He's back at first tonight. And Russell Martin, not behind the plate, but rather over at third base. Wei-Yin Chen ready to roll, and his first pitch misses a little low to Gurriel Jr. the shortstop tonight. Again, Wei-Yin Chen, his 22nd start. How about 10 strikeouts last time out?
Yeah, he was absolutely dominant against the Atlanta Braves. Good numbers. How about the 4.91 ERA? I'm going to bring this up just for one moment. This is the first time this year. You mentioned in the open the fantastic August that he's had. We know how great he's been at home. This is the first start he's making since his opening day start that his ERA has been under 5.
Yeah, it's been an up and down season. The home road splits have certainly been a theme, a talking point, but Don Mattingly's got to be happy with what he's seen the last month.
Well, particularly at home, 186 ERA here at Marlins Park. I call him the sigh of Marlins Park. 3 earned runs or less in 7 consecutive home starts.
Ball and 2 strikes. And in there for a called strike 3. So picking up right where he left off last time out. His 3rd career 10 strikeout game and already 1 in the books.
92-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the strike zone, inside corner. He was absolutely fantastic last time out. Great fastball command, threw 59 fastballs against the Atlanta Braves. Already starting very much the same way. Those 10 strikeouts you mentioned in the Braves game, 7 of the 10 came on the fastball.
First pitch to Devin Travis is outside. Travis 0 for 3 last night, an RBI walk that made it a 5-2 game. Just moments before the Smoke grand slam that gave the Blue Jays a 6-5 lead and eventually a 6-5 win.
Travis has been fond of interleague play throughout his career, particularly this season. 3 homers, 12 RBIs, just 40 at bats.
One from Chen is rolled up the third base line, and Brian Anderson will touch that one foul. The ball and 2 strikes.
Let's get you the Marlins defensively for tonight's ball game. Dean gets the start in left field. Brinson back in center for the first time since July 3rd. The 24-year-old is going to get a lot of playing time here in the month of September. And boy, oh boy, he had a good June. We'll get into that a little bit later. Sierra gets the start in right. Anderson, Riddle, Rojas, and how about Martin Prado starting over at first base? His first start there since 2012. We're still in college, weren't you? Real Muto behind the plate.
You're close enough. I did ask Martin. I said, "You get a little crash course with Bone the last week or so?" He said, "Yes." So he's ready to go.
Now, it's not a foreign spot to him. Now, in 2012, 57 games, 38 starts at first base. He just hasn't done it in a while. So hopefully it's like riding a bike.
2-2 is fouled off to the right side. For Travis, 4 for 11. A couple of walks, no strikeouts last 3 games. That's on the heels of a 1 for 29. His previous 7. And Travis fights this one off. Right field will fall in front of Sierra for a 1-out base hit. Now there's Prado and Perry Hill working on some footwork, some positioning.
Yeah, part of what's going on here is you have to, as a player, and certainly as a player transitioning over to a position you haven't played in a while, get a feel for your spot. Is Bone, what he's going to do is say, okay, this is where I'd like for you to be, and then you factor in your athleticism, your reach, your body type and size, and you give or take a foot or 2 depending on who you are. For example, former Marlin Justin Bohr covered a lot more ground as far as his reach was concerned, but not so much with the foot.
Right.
Didn't cover as much ground with his feet, but did with his body. Martin a little bit more of an athlete, so we probably can get to a little bit more. You may see him off the bag more often. Off the line, I should say.
He holds Travis on as Chen delivers the 0-1 to Smoke. Can't hold up. 0-2, just as it was last night, when Drew Steckenrider, with the bases loaded, tried to beat him upstairs. Smoke got to him first.
Yeah, absolutely got on top. You can almost see him working to the spot. You see the head down and the top end so strong as he gets over the top of that fastball. Drives it out for a game-winning grand slam.
4th pinch hit grand slam in team history and 1st go-ahead pinch hit grand slam.
And he just felt like that momentum was set up, maybe even by the pitch prior to it. Second rider went to the top of the strike zone, got a strike that Smoke asked questions about. He thought it was up above the strike zone, knew he had to defend up there, and they went back up there again, and he was ready the second time.
That one low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. A couple of other notes on that grand slam. 3rd Blue Jays grand slam, the 9th inning or later. Most in Major League Baseball this year. Tied for the most in team history. They did that in 1989. And it was the first, check that, the 3rd pinch hit grand slam down 3 runs with 2 outs in the 9th inning over the last 40 years. On the swing, and then Pat Realmuto with the backswing. That's the 2nd strikeout, 2nd out of the inning. That'll bring up Randall Grichuk, the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. Last 10 days. I think that'll play, right? 500. It's good. Sign up for that.
He's been getting it done. Putting together much better at bats. We talked about him quite a bit last night. Toronto Blue Jays would love to see Grichuk find some more consistency with the game. He's proven capable of running some streaks together, some great offensive streaks. We know he's got great power, but can he do it consistently at the major league level?
0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout in last night's ball game. Chases that one upstairs, and it's 0-2. Gets a bat on this one, pops it up, shallow left center field. Who's going to take it? It will be Lewis Brinson, the man that will bat 2nd for the Marlins in the bottom of the 1st inning. He's back, a lengthy stint on the DL. We'll see Lewis Brinson in the bottom of the 1st. Go to the bottom of the 1st inning. JT Riddle will lead things off as we take a look at the Marlins starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. A bit of a different look up and down, certainly, to what we have seen the last couple of months. Riddle is leading off for the 3rd time in his career. Of course, Brinson back for the 1st time since July. And Martin Prado off the disabled list as well. He hits 5th behind Brian Anderson. Marco Estrada's first pitch misses low.
All right, let's get you the numbers on Estrada, making his 24th start of the season, 7-10 record, 5.18 ERA. Keep an eye on him. He's been dealing with some back issues over the last few starts. That in some part explains the bloated numbers in the month of August. 6.15 ERA. His last start was not a good one against the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned, 3 home runs, 4 walks.
And strike right at the top of the zone. Home plate umpire today is Tim Timmons. Mike Mchlinski is over at first base. The crew chief Mike Winters at second, and Jansen Visconti is over at third. The 1-2 pitch to Riddle is fouled right back to the screen. What do you make of Riddle in the leadoff spot?
Well, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, we've seen JT. I think maybe the word is hot and cold at certain times. Of course, it was only about a week ago we were talking, ranting and raving about how hot he was and where he, so many good things were going on with the swing. I was thinking back to yesterday when I saw his name atop the lineup and thought, boy, he hit the ball hard to left field 3 times yesterday, so maybe this is a good opportunity for him. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of evidence when you ask me and say, is his on-base percentage lend us to this part of the conversation? It doesn't. Yep. But again, if he's hot and he can pop a few balls out, maybe he's that type of leadoff hitter.
And who knows how long this will last. Don Mattingly asked about that before the game today. Said, well, he seemed like a leadoff hitter today.
Let's see. Well, listen, it's going to be September. I love that answer. Well, listen, you give guys some different looks. I've always firmly believed, and of course maybe it was because it was part of my 12-year career, but the idea that moving around the lineup spices it up sometimes.
I think it works. Base hit, right field line. Grichuk spins and throws. Not in time. A leadoff double by the leadoff man, JT Riddle.
Love the slide. How about that? Nicely done. Let's take another look. This is the changeup. We're going to get into this in a second. Of course, we're 1 batter in. It's away, so JT's able to get extended. Catches it off the end of the bat, but keeps it fair down into the right field corner. Good turnaround first base, hustling all the way. And watch the slide. You saw just before those last 2 steps right there. Moves back inside, able to get to second base and secure his head first slide and secure the bag. Not easy to do. A lot of times you'll see a guy slide past that.
Well, quickly in scoring position for Lewis Brinson. 8th 2-base hit of the year for JT Riddle. Sets up a run scoring opportunity for Brinson and the Marlins. Lewis ahead, a ball and no strikes. Well, certainly there were struggles in the first couple of months of the season. Started to put it together in June. And in the 21 games prior to the DL stint, Brinson was hitting .253 with 3 doubles, 4 triples, a home run, 8 RBIs. And as we heard from him earlier this afternoon, just prior to the game, he said, that's where I'd like to get back to. I was feeling good, and clearly that is where the Marlins would like him to get to as well.
Well, even if you're just playing off of last night's ball game, you'd love to see the Marlins get a run across here in the first. I just think that's so important. We talk about this. I almost always talk about our seasons in, game after game after game. Yes, you can separate them out, but listen, everybody walked out of Marlins Park last night with a bad taste in their mouth, except maybe Dan Straley. He did everything in his power. Way to go, Thunder. Point being, you get a run back here, you kind of forget what happened last night, and you get back into what you're looking to accomplish in the month of September.
The 2-2 pitch misses low. Now, I know that's the party line. It's not just the Marlins. It's 30 Major League Baseball teams. It's anybody who plays baseball. Yesterday's over. But is it as simple as just waking up in the morning and thinking, well, let's win a ball game today? Or does it actually stay with you? Do certain ones
certainly stays with the bullpen? I mean, the players feel it, but they've got a job to do, and they get right back into the routine. And players definitely speak this way, and that's the joy of being an everyday guy. The pitchers, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated because you've got to wait a little bit longer before you can get back out there.
Payoff pitch to Brinson. Grounded. Up the line. Long throw in the dirt. Brinson safe, and to third goes Riddle. An early chance for Russell Martin. Over at third base, Marlins have runners on the corners.
Well, a lot of things going the Marlins' way on this one. You got the ground ball down the third base line, and Brinson hustling down the line, beats it out to first base, but great base running by JT Riddle, who, by the way, moved up. He's now standing on third base. Good read. Kind of sold it like he was going to stay. Didn't catch the attention of Martin over at third base, who knows he's got to get a strong throw across the diamond. He doesn't accomplish either one, so the Marlins have first and third and nobody out.
Well, not an easy play for any third baseman, but just the 20th game over there at third for Martin, who is usually a catcher, or at least has been in his career. The Marlins catcher now bats with men on first and third, JT Realmuto. '71 games as a catcher this year, 19 over at third. He's played 3 at short, 1 in left, and a bouncing around this year. Played some infield over the course of the last couple of years, not much, but some.
Let's get you the defense for the Blue Jays. Hernandez gets the start in left field. Pilar in center. Grichuk over in right. You mentioned Martin. 15th start this season at third base. He's also, as you said, behind home plate, caught 71 times in left field. Shortstop. Gurriel, Travis, Smoke over at first. Jansen behind the plate. Maybe reinventing himself just a little bit at third base. See where that takes him. Clearly not catching as much as he has in the past. I think most of us most identify, and certainly was one of the best catchers in the game. Large portion of his career. Third base, I'm still open-minded.
He's 35 years old. He's got the rest of this year and next year on that 5-year, $82 million contract he signed with the Jays back in November of 2014. Leadoff double and an infield single have the Marlins set up, but Realmuto down in the count 0-2, and he gets hit by the pitch. Or it hit the knob of the bat. He does choke up an inch or so. Fortunately,
he chokes up.
Yeah, fortunately he chokes up.
Catches the knob on the way by. Yeah, there was no hesitation by JT. He didn't make a move towards first base. I think that was probably the biggest tell.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing that he does choke up. I know guys like Starlin Castro, for one, kind of have the bottom finger or two over the knob of the bat. You always worry that perhaps in an instance like that, you might get the fingers pinned in between the ball and the bat. Be in some real trouble. No harm, no foul for Realmuto, who will see another 0-2 pitch.
Well, you see JT doing everything in his power to keep this at bat alive. He's got 2 strikes, obviously no balls. Marco Estrada, plethora of secondary pitches. Doesn't throw hard. Changeup is his best pitch. Throws it 37% of the time. 77 miles an hour. Curve 77 miles an hour. He does have a cut fastball that he throws. Sits in that 86 mile an hour range, but his fastball only at 89. We may not see 90 from Estrada tonight.
The hardest pitch he threw of the 71 in his last outing was 89 miles an hour. Upstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, as I mentioned, this is going to be a pretty good test for Estrada no matter how this goes. 20 pitches in, has not allowed a run, but doesn't have an out yet either. As I mentioned, Estrada's been dealing with some back issues. This has got to be testing him.
Count runs full. Riddle led off the ball game with a double. Brinson an infield single. 3-2 pitch. Oh, and they are loaded for Brian Anderson.
A fantastic at bat. All right, let's get into Estrada just a bit. We're seeing him labor here. 22 pitches in, the bases now loaded. Daily dingers. That hasn't happened yet, but keep your eyes open. He's allowed a homer in 4 consecutive starts, 8 total. So that's averaging 2 a game. 3 earned runs or more in his last 4 starts. Vertical. If you're watching close at home, you've seen an awful lot of this already. Fastballs up, fastballs down, changeups up, changeups down. Doesn't move horizontally across the strike zone too much. It's more up and down. You'll see catcher Jansen moving an awful lot. He's got a bit of a fastball dilemma right now, Paul. Last 4 starts, you mentioned the last one against the Phillies being a bad one. .452 batting average against his fastball. 6 home runs last 4 starts.
So now it is Anderson. First pitch misses. Anderson last night was 2 for 3, couple of doubles. He has 30 doubles this season, which leads NL rookies. And it's 5th all time among Marlins rookies. Chris Coghlan next on that list with 31. Bounces that one in. 2 balls and no strikes. Anderson has been hot last 9 games, 10 for 29. We have documented his success with runners in scoring position all year long. A drive out to right field sends Grichuk back, and he leaps and makes the catch at the wall. Riddle's going to score. The other 2 runners have to retreat. Wow. Anderson didn't miss that one by much. He'll go to the dugout with an RBI, but didn't miss 4 by more than a couple feet.
Well, certainly, and maybe even a double. I'll tell you what, that catch, we'll see what ends up happening in this game. Hey, you watch Grichuk. Nice job pursuing. That's an outfielder who trusts his instincts. In fact, turned away 2 different times from the ball. Woo. Look, Mom, no hands. Well, wait, no eyes. Certainly used his hands. Second time we've seen that here lately. Saw Bogarts do that in Boston as well. Is that
that's right.
Must be an American League thing.
It's got to be.
Well, we're going to keep our eye on that play, and here's the reason why. It was such a good catch. I mean, the Marlins and Brinson did everything he was supposed to do, as JT Realmuto did as well. He got all the way to second base. It was 50-50 that he was going to make the catch. He misses that. They're all moving up extra bases, but because he did make the catch, everybody had to go back. So you see Brinson still at second base, JT over at first.
Upstairs to Martin Prado. A couple of trips to the disabled list during the season. Of course, started the year on the DL. Coming back from that right knee surgery. And a left hamstring strain, left quad strain along the way. But Prado back, hoping to finish the season strong. Fouls that one into the second deck. All right, so you're Brian Anderson. You put a charge into one in many ballparks. Maybe that's out. Maybe it's a grand slam at worst, perhaps. Or I guess second worst. It's a double, some runs score. You only get a sac fly. Is there disappointment there?
No, he's played here too long. Come on, man.
He
Now,
knows.
if you're a Toronto Blue Jay, you're kicking dirt, kicking rocks on your way to back to the dugout. Yeah, there's no way. Listen, Brian Anderson knew exactly what he did. And I really do believe that a lot of the Marlins players get this. Now, of course, there were some sluggers who no longer play here, and it was a different environment. But the point is that I think that you're optimistically surprised when it goes out, and I think that's the approach that you have to take because this is such a big ballpark. We've seen it too many times.
Well, they'll test Grichuk again, this time toward the line. And he makes the catch again. This time moving up is Brinson. Well, Grichuk went out of our view, down the line up against that wall. But he made the catch. He has been busy.
He certainly has. You're seeing the athleticism of Grichuk. My, oh my. Streaking across the outfield into that right field corner to make another catch. Times it out just right, gets himself into position. Brinson able to tag up. It's an easy tag. It's a foul ball, so he's now standing at third base.
Well, I don't know how you feel about defensive runs saved. I'm not necessarily in love with it. Kind of could take it or leave it in some instances, but there are only 3 Blue Jays that are positive in terms of defensive runs saved, and Grichuk is one of them, along with 2 catchers. And his defensive skills have been on display here thus far tonight. One against the wall and one in foul territory against the wall. Austin Dean takes that one inside, a ball and a strike. Dean 0 for 4, but had an RBI in last night's ball game. Sends one out to center field. Pilar started back, but comes in and makes the catch. Marlins had the bases loaded and nobody out. When it's all said and done, they do get on the board. 1 run. A little bit more, but they will take it and take this 1-0 lead into the top of the 2nd inning. Kevin Pilar, Russell Martin, and Danny Jansen do up against Wei-Yin Chen, who had a couple of strikeouts in the 1st inning. Coming off a 10 strikeout performance last time out against the Atlanta Braves. Marlins won that game 3-1. It was his first double-digit strikeout game since a career-high 12 in May of 2016. Called strike to Kevin Pillar, who was 0 for 4 in last night's ball game with a strikeout. Since coming off the disabled list, 24 games for Pillar, hitting .278. Soft looping liner over to short. Riddle takes care of that one.
Miami, join us for our neighborhood series. We are hosting a Coconut Grove Day at Marlins Park tomorrow when the Marlins host the Blue Jays. Tickets start at just $12 for all residents. For more information, visit marlins.com/neighborhood.
Russell Martin offers at the first pitch, pops it up, foul territory. Prado in foul ground for out number 2.
Well, 2 outs into the second. Chen certainly seems like he's got his mojo once again here at Marlins Park. Coming into tonight's ball game, 1.86 ERA here at Marlins Park. That is 3rd in Major League Baseball, chasing just Mr. Snell of the Rays. Got a 106 and
could win a Cy Young.
Yeah,
go ahead.
DeGrom
could win a Cy Young.
Some guy named DeGrom. 159.
Danny Jansen awaits the 0-1. Grounds it wide of the third base bag. 0-2. So the home, he's got that. That's on lockdown. We're good to go with the home. The other 2 guys, they said, in the mix for the Cy Young because they have been able to take it on the road.
Right. Well, and that's, I mean, that's a great point. You see the difference there. 9.35 ERA. I'll give you the run differential. 7.49. Now we're talking minimums of 10 starts, and we're talking today. So there's still a month of baseball left. But if the season ended today, Paul, he would have the biggest differential in the history of the game of baseball ever. Wei-Yin Chen.
That is why we bring it up, for the historical aspect of it. A 9-pitch inning, 1-0 Marlins. Of the second inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Miguel Rojas, Magneuris Sierra, and Wei-Yin Chen here in the second inning against Marco Estrada. Threw 33 pitches in that first inning. Got himself into some trouble. A leadoff double, an infield single, and then a walk. That loaded the bases, but then a sac fly, fly ball down the foul line, and then a fly ball to center field, and got out of it with just the 1 run allowed.
Yeah, I brought it up at the time. Think about that catch that Grichuk made in right field. Kind of turned the momentum. Felt like it was turning there because the Marlins weren't able to take advantage of the deep fly ball, but of course it was just a natural read. He made a great catch.
Line to Smoke. 1 away. Yeah, that's one of those plays that perhaps at the time you get a feeling that maybe that's a turning point. We'll check in about 2.5 hours from now and see if it actually stands up as crucial of a play then as it seems to be now. Here's Sierra starting in right field tonight. Bunts it up the first base line. No play for Estrada. That is one thing that he has been working on before batting practice every day for the past 2-3 weeks, is improving the bunting, working with Juan Pierre, trying to utilize that speed as best he can, and it works right here.
Does a fantastic job. Drag bunt to the right side. Estrada, even after fielding it, realizes he's got no play. The best he's got is maybe a jump throw in foul territory with the hopes that just maybe he gets here at first base. Job well done. Now he put that in the spot exactly where you want it, just where it's not too hard to where Smoke can actually make a play and Estrada can cover first. Forced Estrada to field the bunt.
Chen takes a strike. Well, the other thing about Sierra, yes, he's fast, but it also seems like he gets to top speed real quick within a couple of strides. Chen gets it down. It stays fair. Jansen will get the play at first. Sierra up to second. A lot of traffic in front of home plate, but Chen gets the job done. Let's take a look at Sierra StatCast.
You see how quickly he gets going down the line. 3.43 seconds home to first. That's outstanding speed. And you know what I love about that bunt is that he slid up in the box just a little bit before getting the bunt down into fair territory, so he created a little bit of momentum out of the box. A lot of times lefties aren't able to do that. Righties get a little bit more of an advantage because for a lefty you have to turn and run down the first base line to the right. But what Sierra did on that bunt is he slid forward, got the bunt down, and had his feet already moving out of the box.
Now on at second for JT Riddle, who doubled in the first inning. Riddle an RBI last night, his 31st of the season, which tied his total from last year, his rookie campaign. So a whole month to add on. And a chance here with Sierra in scoring position.
You've seen some defensive swings from the Marlins as they've continued to battle Estrada tonight. Got 3 hits. Now 2 of them have been on the infield. Point being is this: Estrada has been one of the game's best fastball changeup guys over the last 3 or 4 seasons. Now his numbers are trending in a different direction, but the point is this: he's got a really, really good changeup, one that typically fools an awful lot of hitters, and you can see the Marlins are being very, very cautious of that changeup, allowing the 88, 89 to get a little deeper in the strike zone.
To Travis at second. And 2 innings in the books here at Marlins Park. Miami with a 1-0 lead. Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason, Huba WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota, let's go places. Look at South Beach on a Labor Day weekend. Inside Marlins Park, Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth with you as Teoscar Hernandez takes a called strike. 8-9-1 due up for the Jays. Hernandez, and then the pitcher Marco Estrada, and the shortstop Lourdes Gurriel Jr. A couple of strikeouts, both in the first inning for Chen. Worked around a 1-out walk in the first and set the Jays down 1-2-3 in the second. And Riddle play over to first. One away. Last of this 3-game set tomorrow. An afternoon affair, and that man right there, Jeff Brigham. Youngster is very excited to be making his major league debut tomorrow. Sam Gaviglio on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. So Brigham started the season at AA Jacksonville. 4-1 record, 1.18 ERA over 7 starts. Overall 10-3, 236 across 3 levels of the minor leagues.
Yeah, it sounds like Brigham's ready to bring it.
Well, they're bringing him up.
No, he's already been brought up. He's here in uniform. What do you want?
We could go 2.5, 3 hours every night on just bad jokes. It'd be great. I would have fun with it. I don't know what the viewers would think, but I would love it.
Now Marco Estrada denied his 20th career hit. 19 for 134 in his career, 142 average. Had some at-bats in his time with the Milwaukee Brewers. Came up with the Nationals, so has some National League time, but it's been a while.
Top of the order for Gurriel. And Anderson gets the big hop. The throw to Prado. An 8-pitch 3rd inning for Wei-Yin Chen. for Miami as we go to the bottom of the third inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up. Lewis Brinson, JT Realmuto, and Brian Anderson against Marco Estrada. Brinson a base hit, an infield single back in the first inning. Just watching Estrada pitch, very deliberate. Not in the in-between, but just in the motion itself. It's just very slow.
Well, it has to be. I mean, he again, we've kind of tiptoed around it. Of course, I'm very, very apprehensive to get into any kind of conversations right now with the length of our half innings. So I'm a bit nervous. The point being that Estrada has had his issues, but you bring it up. I mean, it is actually a really good point. You watch how deliberate he is. He masks his secondary pitches particularly well. And you watch the high leg kick, and of course, his best pitch going back a couple of seasons is his changeup, and he still uses it more than any of his other secondary pitches. But he has to hide it in the consistency of his delivery, and that's what actually fools the hitters. Go back to 2016 against his changeup, 151 batting average against. He struck out 93 batters on that changeup.
He strikes out Brinson for the first out here in the third as we check in with Craig Minervini.
Thank you, Paul. You mentioned Jeff Brigham. Well, very excited. Obviously, he'll make his major league debut here tomorrow. Excited to do it.
It's definitely an unbelievable experience. I mean, I'm just grateful for the opportunity the Marlins have given me, and I'm fired up to help this team win. Arnie told me, the manager in New Orleans told me that that I'm throwing on Sunday and I'm going to need a new ball, and he handed me a big league ball, and I went out and told my family, and lots of crying, and then my dad's in the background like, yeah, give me a fist pound. So I was like, it was a pretty cool experience to share with my family.
26 years of age, a 1.18 ERA in Double-A, promoted to Triple-A. We're in that very good hitting league. He had a 3.44 in 9 starts at New Orleans. Power arm. He is 26 and an interesting guy who had a great minor league season and earned his way here. The Marlins are going to get a very good look at him, especially with Pablo Lopez put on the DL. He had a shoulder strain. It's not serious, but they figured they probably could only get 1 or 2 starts at best out of him. So being that it's September, they're going to shut Pablo down. He'll be ready to go in spring training, guys.
Yeah, Craig, thanks so much. So not the greatest of news for Pablo Lopez, but again, sounds very precautionary given the kind of the timetable where we're at in the season. But yes, a 6-man rotation as well for the Marlins. So there is Pablo Lopez, no longer in the rotation for now, but bring him tomorrow. Then Urania, Richards, and Sandy Alcantara will start against the Phillies, and then Straley, Chen, and Brigham the following series after that. So that's the 6-man rotation that the Marlins will go with to begin September. Realmuto out to right center field. Long run for Pilar, who gives it a look. A solo home run to right center field for JT.
Wow. Not sure I believe that JT had that kind of pop. Career high 18th home run. That is impressive. My goodness. We watch JT a lot of times. We'll see straightaway center field. We'll see to left center field some of the longest home runs that he hits. But this, one of the deepest parts of the ballpark, elevated. And we talked about this last night, the smoke home run on a high pitch. This is what you got to do. Meet it at its spot. It's already up. It wants to stay up, and JT drives it right on out.
Brian Anderson takes outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
7th home run that Estrada has allowed in his last, 9th home run he has allowed in his last 5 starts. 411 feet, 102 miles an hour off the bat.
Well, a terrific season for JT Realmuto continues. As Holly mentioned, a new career high in terms of home runs. In the last couple of days, he has surpassed his RBI total. His best single season RBI numbers as Anderson pops this one up behind home plate, but Jansen runs out of room. Of course, an all-star for the first time. Off the field, a dad for the first time. Did a nice 2018 JT Realmuto. And still a month left.
To add to those impressive numbers that he's put up, certainly let's give him some credit. It has not been the easiest of seasons for a backstop. Factor in all the pitching changes and different names that he's been called upon to catch. It has been an awful lot for him to take on, and he's done it with a smile on his face. He's gone out there, continued to produce. We said this back in April, stepped into the spotlight and embraced the challenge that this team presented him with.
2-2 on the way to Anderson is in the dirt, and the count runs full. So among primary catchers in the National League, JT Realmuto is first in runs, he is first in hits, and doubles, and RBIs, and average, and slugging, and extra base hits. He is second in home runs. That is 18 for him now, behind Yasmani Grandal of the Dodgers, who has 22. So perhaps a silver slugger coming his way. If I had a vote, which I do not.
September 1, though, he's got to keep pushing. That's going to be a challenge. He's got some guys who are going to gain a little bit of an edge by being in a pennant race. That's what you have to do. Sometimes you find yourself on
Anderson is retired on the ground out, 2 away.
Make the ballpark your paradise tomorrow for Margaritaville at Marlins Park. Arrive early to sit back, relax, and enjoy the pregame festivities, Paul. All Parrot heads, beach bums, and Marlins fans. Purchase a ticket package will receive an exclusive Margaritaville t-shirt. Get your tickets, marlins.com/Margaritaville.
Well, I have to work tomorrow. That, doesn't mean
You got back-to-back day games coming up. I try to plan your evenings, but I'm just saying. Margaritaville.
It'll be 3:05 somewhere, as the t-shirt says.
There you go. It's always 3:05 in South Florida.
Martin Prado, a liner out to Pilar for the final out of the third, but the Marlins get another run. A rocket off the bat of JT Realmuto, going to right center field for a solo home run.
Here all week. To nothing. Hey, Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Devin Travis to lead things off. Takes a called strike from Chen, who now has a 2-0 lead to work with thanks to his battery mate, JT Realmuto, his 18th home run of the season. Travis a single back in the first inning. It's Travis, Justin Smoke, and Randall Grichuk. Travis fouls that one back. Travis, born in West Palm Beach, Florida, went to Palm Beach Central High School in Wellington, Florida State. Lines one down the right field, left field line rather. Playing it off the wall is Dean, and a leadoff double for Devin Travis. Time for the Toyota Inside Look. Dan Straley last night, a season-high 8 innings, a 1.20 ERA in 2 interleague starts this season, and 3 or fewer runs allowed in 8 straight at home.
Love it. Dan Straley has been absolutely outstanding. I think we've seen it maybe best displayed over his last 2 starts, and I even think back to the first at bat of the ball game, because to me it always opens up the Straley story. The breaking ball, when that slider is working, when he's throwing it for strikes, when he's adding and subtracting velocity to it, he is so dangerous. It helps his fastball play up, literally up in the zone, and of course puts himself in a great spot to even use that changeup a little bit more, which he hasn't really needed a whole lot of last 2 times out.
Justin Smoke grounds one foul outside of third. 0-1. Smoke the strikeout victim in the first inning.
Chen able to put Smoke away using his secondary pitches. Started him off with a slow breaking ball at 72 miles an hour. Smoke has shown the willingness to swing. He really wants to attack tonight from the right side. Put a secondary pitch in a good spot. I think he'll get another strikeout right here.
Smoke's homered in 3 straight games for the 3rd time in his career. Of course, the hit grand slam last night, first for a Toronto player since Reed Johnson in 2005. Maybe the bat starting to come to life a little bit after a slow 3 weeks or so. Out to right field, Sierra tracks it down and fires in. Travis will advance to third with 1 out.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
So run around third, less than 2 out for Randall Grichuk. Flew out to Brinson to end the first inning. He's 0 for 1 at the plate, but to this point, perhaps his biggest impact was a catch up against the wall on a drive by Brian Anderson with the bases loaded in the bottom of the first inning.
Careful. Grichuk has did pretty well with runners in scoring position this season. 263, 525 slugging percentage.
I know we've talked an awful lot about the home road splits for Wei-Yin Chen, but just looking at his numbers kind of overall, he's allowed 4 earned runs or less in 16 of his 21 starts, 3 earned runs or less in 14 of his 21 starts. And as Don Mattingly talked about before the game today, perhaps what's been most encouraging about Chen throughout the season is that there really haven't been any setbacks injury-wise. You know,
you're absolutely right.
Once he got back, he stayed back.
That's what the Marlins saw an awful lot of last year, you know, the starting and stopping. And I think you walk into this season with that element of unpredictability. And I think he, you know, to be fair to the situation, I think he was even managed with that in mind. The Marlins trying to protect him, and I think at times maybe from himself, just based on the inability to get back consistently, because there was so much starting and stopping that when he finally got back to the Marlins, and I think back to a couple of times early on this season where Don Mattingly went out in the ball game and there was a stressful 4th inning or a stressful 5th inning and his pitch count was at 75, but he was more inclined to get him out of the ball game, and I think it made sense at the time. I'd be willing to bet it wouldn't happen now, though, and the reason I say that is that Chen has earned that trust back. That's how it works. Your manager wants to trust you. He wants to believe that you're going to be the guy to get you through that lineup, you know, not 1 time, not 2 times, but at least 3 times on just about every start he makes. But then you're in a position to, you got to factor in health and where he's at on the mound, how much he's labored. And I think because of the injury, they have tried to be very cautious with him early on.
Well, it was a season high 109 pitches last time out for him. And 3 times this season he has gone over 100 pitches. And they've been basically within the last month. July 24th, August 12th, August 25th. Grichuk out to left. Dean makes the play. Tagging from third. And scoring is Travis, 2-1. RBI for Grichuk, who's been hot as of late. Tomorrow, as we mentioned earlier, Jeff Brigham makes his Marlins debut. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson on the air at 12:30 for the South Florida Honda Dealers Marlins Live pregame show. Pilar to Anderson, spins and throws, and Prado!
Yes, sir!
Prado had to go up to get him. He came down and applied the tag.
That's the safe out call at first base. I'm going without. The second one counts, not the first one.
You can't possibly be wrong if you call them both.
That's right. Wow. What a great tag by Prado. That's so hard to tell, but you got to remember this now. The out call is, well, the call is out. It's what we know. He's kind of standing around to see where this one's going to go. And they're going to let it go. What a play all the way around.
Not at first base since 2012. Come on now. 2-1. Nice play by Martin Prado, getting his first start at first base since 2012. Just got Kevin Pillar.
It's his first start off the disabled list, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, that too.
Look at the athleticism. Ranging high. I saw him taking ground balls over at first base today in his high tops. I thought maybe I said, you've been playing basketball on the side today? Clearly he has. How about the hops? My goodness.
And don't sleep on the play by Anderson.
Well, that's the other thing. I know this throw's a little bit high, but he did a fantastic job on the one hopper. You want to get that throw down just a bit, but Prado picks him up. That's what you love about a good first baseman.
Dean sends one out to left center field. That is Teoscar Hernandez for the first out in the fourth. Figures to be the new spot for Martin Prado for this last month of the regular season. Basically playing first base quite a bit, maybe sometime at third as well when Brian Anderson gets a day off or two here and there. So we'll be working on the corners. I'm sure Martin just happy to be back off the DL. Miguel Rojas takes low. Rojas lined out to Smoke back in the second inning. Rojas got a hit as a pinch hitter last night, or excuse me, as a defensive replacement, but in his first at bat, tried to get a rally started with a base hit up the middle, and he does so right here. A one-out knock in the fourth. Well, when you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get opinion that cuts through the hype. And speak for yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock weekdays at 5 Eastern only. FS1. Sierra reached on a bunt single in the second inning. Blue Jays have the third baseman Martin in on the grass, perhaps expecting another.
Marlins have had at least one hit in 10 straight innings. Come on. We'll see him get a few more of these guys in. Taking that 5-0 lead last night. Marlins left 9 men on base, 5 in scoring position.
Upstairs to Sierra, the ball and 2 strikes. Well, that's the thing against any team, but it seems like this year, especially American League East teams, and we've seen it quite a bit, you cannot tack on enough runs.
Well, even the Toronto Blue Jays, as we certainly witnessed last night, have the ability to change a game with one swing of the bat.
Gibbons squad with 183 home runs, fourth most in Major League Baseball. Line right to Smoke, who sidesteps it back to the bag. Hit that one on the screws, but right to the first baseman. 2-1. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. Stiff joints, aches, and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Simply Healthcare. Live the Simply life. In Miami on a Saturday night, 2-1 Marlins on top as we go to the 5th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Craig Minervini. Second game of a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Wei-Yin Chen will face Russell Martin, Danny Jansen, and Teoscar Hernandez in the 5th. It's the second to last homestand of the year. Finale against the Phillies, or Blue Jays tomorrow, then the Phillies in town for 3. An off day before a 3-city road trip, and then home for the Nats for 2, an off day, and then a 4-game set against the Reds, and that will do it for the home schedule this year. 0-2 to Russell Martin.
Now, one thing that the Marlins can say they probably did a little bit better than other things is play competitive baseball here at Marlins Park. A few games left to hustle out. I can promise you that they're going to play a good. Can't promise wins, but I can promise that they're going to compete. And we've certainly seen the starting staff figure a few things out. Straley pitching well at home. Chen pitching well at home. Richards throwing the ball well at home as well.
That's right. And one thing you brought up when we talked with Michael Hill a couple of weeks ago, their home record. Hoping to get a little bit closer, maybe finishing at a 500 record here at home. Low to Martin, 3-2. Payoff pitch on the way to Martin. In the air out to right field for Sierra. Will make a catch on the edge of the track. One away. Geico presents this day in Marlins history. A 16-10 win as the Dolphins beat the Redskins that day, evidently. Marlins' first NL team to score at least 4 runs in each of the first 3 innings since 1992 was on this day in 2010. Danny Jansen takes outside. I guess you could say, in a way, a good eye for Danny Jansen. He wears those goggles, and the story behind that is he couldn't see, and nobody really knew why he wasn't hitting the way that he was supposed to be hitting. In 2013, he hit .246, and then 2015 hit .210, but he went to the eye doctor. Turns out he couldn't see very well, so now all of a sudden he wears the goggles.
Well, basically what you're implying is that nobody knew why he couldn't hit and he couldn't see, but even he didn't know that he should be seeing better.
Had some eye problems, was able to get the glasses that he's wearing right now, and as Muhammad Ali once said, your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see, and now he's here in the big leagues. Enters with a .324 average. He's been on base in 11 of his 12 big league games, and also has developed and worked on quite a rapport with the pitching staff. That's been one of the things that you hear and read. That one foul outside of third. Close, but foul.
Yeah, that's the ball right there as Jansen's hustling down the line. He was hoping that it would be fair until it was fielded by Anderson, and he sees the throw across the diamond, and he's thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll get an infield hit, and then he sees the throw, and he's like, yeah, no, foul ball. I've been there a few times. You're like, yes, no, yes, no.
It was close, but not in the outfield, so not reviewable. Cut on and missed. Apologize for his frustration. And there are 2 outs here in the 5th.
Chen continues to pick up strikeouts on the fastball. We talked about it at the beginning of this ball game. He's had a good one. Of course, he's used a few more secondary pitches against the Toronto Blue Jays. They're a very aggressive group. You see the swing there, a very defensive swing. Some frustration as he's walking off. The one thing Chen really has mastered at Marlins Park, I had a good conversation with Don Mattingly just before the game just about this, that outside lane, particularly against right-handed hitters. Chen doesn't get a whole lot of lefties in there. Every now and again you'll see a few. Of course, the Toronto Blue Jays have stacked all these righties up against him, so he's continued to really just zone in on that outer third, add and subtract, kind of work around that corner a bit.
Spins and throws and gets it to Prado. Nice play. 5 innings in the books for Wei-Yin Chen. He and the Marlins have a 2-1 lead. One more look. Tells Martin, I got this. And he did. Game as we go to the home half of the 5th inning. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Nick Neidert last night against Mississippi, 6 innings, a run, and a couple of strikeouts. He was 2 for 2 with a homer as well. How about that?
Do it all yourself.
Take it, right? Season 12-7, a 3.24 ERA. Wei-Yin Chen to lead things off. Swings at the first pitch, chops one just out of the reach of Martin, and Gurriel has no play. An infield single for Wei-Yin Chen.
Great smile. There you go. Chen's gotten a little better as the season has gone on. Elevated fastball, hits over the top, ground ball to the left side, but gets it past Russell Martin at third. Knows and starts to smell a base hit. Gurriel really has to no shot at Chen, who was already halfway down the line. Marlins 6 hits tonight, 3 on the infield.
They have 2 extra base hits as well. A JT Realmuto solo home run and a JT Riddle double. that started the ball game. 1 for 2 out of the top spot in the lineup. Leading off for the 3rd time in his career, first time this season. One pitch to Riddle, misses low. 3-1. Low, and that's the 2nd walk issued tonight by Estrada. Marlins have 2 on and nobody out here in the 5th. Well, with Lewis Brinson coming to the plate, some other roster moves and call-ups here on September 1st. We've seen Brinson and Prado. Sandy Alcantara will get the start in a few days in the last game against the Phillies. Nick Whitgren recalled. Chad Wallach back up. And Jeff Brigham will get his start tomorrow. With the Marlins. Of course, that's all the good news and the congratulations. Perhaps a little bit of the bad news would be Pablo Lopez on the 60-day DL. It certainly sounds worse than perhaps it actually is. Sounds a little bit more precautionary. As Don Mattingly said before the game today, and Craig documented earlier, it really just comes down to timing at this point. Figure give him a couple of weeks to rest, and then comes up, you know, maybe later September, gets a start or 2, and it's probably not even really worth it at this point. He's had a good season, forced his way to the big leagues, and as Donnie said, he had a solid year. He'll have a full winter, should be 100% by the spring. Talking about the man at the plate, Lewis Brinson just wanted the competitive at-bats that we had seen prior to his hip issue that he had, that bone bruise. Fly ball out to Pilar for out number 1. Second and Riddle on at first for JT Realmuto. Scorched one to right center field his last time up. Solo home run, number 18 on the year.
Certainly an impressive home run here at Marlins Park. Right center field, as you said. 111 feet away from home plate. 102 miles an hour off the bat.
And now this one to left. That one's going to fall in. Chen being held up. Bases loaded and 1 out.
A good swing on a breaking ball. JT get that front leg down. He's been starting to leg that front leg a little bit sooner over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 ball games, even going back to the Boston series. That's the one thing he's looked so much better about. He's been so much more on time. And a first pitch breaking ball, gets a good pass, and drives it into left. Chen didn't get a good read, so he's unable to score.
30th multi-hit game this season for JT Realmuto.
And Brian Anderson, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, second time tonight that Anderson's up with the bases loaded.
Great minds think alike.
Right, partner. What'd you say? 2 feet, 3 feet from a grand slam back in the first?
Yeah, maybe I'll go 3 feet for a homer, about 1.5 feet for a double. Maybe would have changed that inning. It's only came away with 1 run. another look. Deep drive on a fastball to right. Grichuk all the way to the wall. Leaps. You see the right hand kind of bracing and even a little look away there as he makes the catch. It's a huge play. As I mentioned at the time, runners not unable to move up because they were anticipating that ball getting off the wall.
Three balls and no strikes. Marlins looking to add to a one-run lead here in the 5th inning. That one low, and they will on a bases-loaded walk. Anderson gets the RBI. Chen scores, and it's 3-1 Miami.
Estrada sitting at 90 pitches. I'm sure well aware what Estrada has, or excuse me, Anderson has done this season with runners in scoring position. Except his second RBI of the game. Tonight, 385.
A meeting on the mound as action starts. Danny Barnes up in the Blue Jays bullpen. Martin Prado a chance to blow this game open a little bit more. Riddle, Realmuto, and Anderson, the runners third to first, with one out and one in here in the 5th. Prado in the air, left field line. Hernandez in foul territory, cannot make the catch.
Seen this one happen a couple of times this year, this season here at Marlins Park. An outfielder trying to make a catch up against the wall. Watch, you see some arms kind of come out. Such a dangerous proposition for an outfielder, because that's not a short wall. You're not talking about a ball that's coming down and, you know, your arm's getting tangled up with a fan. But when the fan deflects that ball, the outfielder is kind of in the way. Their vision is potentially blinded by the arm. The Blue Jays are actually looking at this as well.
Right, and to the naked eye, it looked like that it wasn't deflected. Again, to the naked eye, they are going to take a look at it. That it wasn't deflected, but maybe distracted.
Right. Well, they're going to take a look at it. I mean, they're going to go back and review this. Like I said, we've seen this a couple of times at Marlins Park this season, and for me, you know, speaking from the outfielder position, you know, when you're running over as fast as you can trying to make a catch and this happens, remember that ball, as you see the arm kind of come out, that's still 15, 20 feet off the ground. One fan reaches out. Ball goes right through his hands.
I don't know if it's enough to overturn the call.
Well, I don't argue that. I'm actually just arguing the fact that the fans need to keep their arms back. I mean, well, listen. These high walls, I mean, how many times we've seen an outfielder run into the high wall this season where he tries to maybe make potentially a catch, but that ball gets deflected by a finger or a hand.
Right.
And then you see the outfielder kind of ducking for cover because now it's off of what he originally thought where the ball was going to come down. So he's kind of in a defensive position. Again, it's still, you know, still 15, 20 feet up in the air.
So the Blue Jays officially challenging the call that there was no fan interference. And again, that's
well, and I find this
tough.
And you want to know why it's even tougher here at Marlins Park is because so much happens while the ball's still at 20, 25 feet down these lines. You know, a lot of times you're reading the outfielder to see whether he can have impact. You know how much he tries to catch it. They're going to call it a foul ball.
Call was confirmed.
Well, what Hernandez does when he gets over there, he bails. After he sees those arms come out and the ball kind of ricochets a little bit, he covers his head up and says, okay, enough. I'm not trying to catch it anymore.
So they're out of challenges. The Marlins have a 3-1 lead and back to it. 0-1 from Estrada to Prado. Prado a fly out and a line out so far tonight. Chance here in the 5th inning to blow it open a little bit for Miami. In the air, left center field. This might do just that. That's going to hop off the wall. 1 run scores. 2 runs are going to score, and here comes the 3rd. A bases clearing double for Martin Prado. Welcome back.
The first couple of times up tonight for Martin Prado, we watched him do what he does so well, try to go to middle right field. This time, this at bat really concentrated, really was trying to pull the baseball. We saw it on the foul ball, and we're certainly going to see it on this fastball that gets turned around. Drives it into left center field and clears the bases. Good swing at the right time. Marlins capitalize with runners in scoring position.
And that is going to do it for Marco Estrada. Martin Prado's 9th double knocks him out of the game. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Blown things open, 4 runs in the inning, and they're not done yet. A pitching change. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Estrada out and Barnes in. 39th game for him this season. He takes over again. 4 runs home, 1 out, and Prado in scoring position. Here is Austin Dean. They have broken his bat on a roller to short. Out number 2. That had to feel good for Martin Prado. Been waiting a while to come back.
Certainly. Welcome back. It's the start over at first base tonight. Some starts here in the month of September. That's just really been the thing with Prado this year, is that, you know, he's gotten into some really good stretches kind of where he was going, and then the injury bug comes back around again. It's happened a couple of times this season. The first time, it was really the first time he got hot.
Certainly hope that he can stay healthy in this last month, get a bunch of at-bats, and at least have a good taste in his mouth going into the winter. After, you know, a rough season, as we mentioned, didn't start the season with the club. A couple of DL stints throughout. Rojas ends the inning, but the Marlins score 4, 3 of which on a bases-clearing double for Martin Prado in his first game back off the disabled list. 6-1.
it is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month around the country, and Major League Baseball as an initiative has Go Gold, their main initiative. Many of the people have the gold hats tonight, and Pediatric Cancer Awareness Night is tonight. We have several groups here to chat with. We know Live Like Bella from several years. This is Alex Alvarez. Tell me more about Live Like Bella and how things are going with your foundation.
Hello, hi. So we are here for Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, and we're super thankful for the Marlins and Major League Baseball for doing this. So Live Like Bella was an organization founded 5 years ago in memory of Bella Rodriguez Torres, and our mission is to make pediatric cancer a treatable and curable disease, and we're not going to stop until a cure is found. So that is our mission, and it's with partners like this and people like this that we're going to be able to do that and continue.
Give her a hand. That's okay. Give her a hand. Sylvia Yanni is here from Mystic Force Foundation, and this is an interesting stat you had about pediatric cancer. Sylvia?
Yes. Hi. So pediatric cancer is the #1 disease killer of children in our country. The incidence of childhood cancer continues to rise, yet government funding for childhood cancer research remains less than 4%. We started the Mystic Force Foundation 10 years ago when my 4-year-old baby was diagnosed with cancer. Sadly, he lost his battle with cancer, but we continue our mission to try to find a cure. And the only way that we are going to make that happen is to continue to raise awareness. So we are thankful to the Marlins and giants like the Major League Baseball who help us to raise awareness. This is the only way that we are going to get anywhere. We've made monumental strides in the last year, and we need to continue to do that. So we are all gold strong now. We will find a cure for childhood cancer and for children like Kaysen who deserve a future.
Well said. Thank you, Sylvia. Well said. Penelope here. This is Penelope right over here, and Luis Rodriguez along with his wife Priscilla. Penelope's under 3 years old. I know this is an important night. It means obviously a lot to all of us and for you guys especially.
Yes, it is. We have a great support group here with us. A wonderful group right there. We're also here together celebrating because it'll be her 2nd birthday on Thursday. So we're all really excited to gather here today with her.
And so important to raise awareness and obviously funds to find a cure for this.
Absolutely. And she has a rare classification of a brain tumor. She has a ganglioneuroblastoma that's just related to the brain and the central nervous system. So she is definitely a special little baby.
All right, so important even in the middle of a baseball game, Paul and Holly, to get these words out. Major League Baseball doing a great job with the Go Gold initiative, and we want to just bring you a little sense of what's going on here at the park tonight on Pediatric Cancer Awareness Night. Back to you guys.
Absolutely, Craig. Thanks so much. Yeah, in partnership with Stand Up to Cancer, Major League Baseball, the clubs raising awareness. That's why you see the yellow wristbands, the yellow pins. There's a lot of yellow hats in the ballpark tonight. So yes, a very special night, and it's certainly it hits home with a lot and with too many, frankly. So
well, they are doing incredible work. Early happy birthday to that sweet Penelope. My goodness.
Called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Chen here in the 6th.
Sitting there on her daddy's shoulder right there. Yeah, nestled in.
Six strikeouts for Wei-Yin Chen. As Devin Travis takes low.
Travis, the one guy that Chen is going to do his best to figure out 3rd time through. Travis 2 for 2 in the ball game. Double and scored his last time. Up in the 4th.
Chen has been on tonight. He has also been, of course, the beneficiary of 6 runs. Helped create a little breathing room for him on the mound. A couple of strikeouts in this 6th inning and a fly ball out to right field. 6 really good frames for Wei-Yin Chen. Takes us inside the numbers. Hanley Ramirez. Most doubles among Miami rookies or Florida rookies, but he had 46 in 06. And Gabby Sanchez, along with Mike Jacobs, 37. Brian Anderson making his way up the list another month. Next up on the list is Chris Coughlin, who won the Rookie of the Year, and of course Brian Anderson hoping to do the same. Has some tough competition, the likes of Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna Jr., but certainly putting together a heck of a rookie season and making a strong case for that award. New pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, one of their September call-ups, Taylor Guerreri, making his major league debut. So congratulations to him.
2-2 with a 5.18. 3 games, 7 starts. AAA this season.
Sierra a bunt single back in the second inning and lined into a double play in the fourth. The third pitcher for the Blue Jays. 4 1/3 innings from Marco Estrada. Danny Barnes got out of the 5th. This one is chopped to first base for the first out in the 6th.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
Signs for Chen as he steps into the box for his 3rd at bat of the ball game. He's got himself a base hit tonight. Sacrifice as well. Around to score. In fact, ignited the rally in the 5th inning.
Right, you were right about that. Count 0-2 to Guerreri. Right back to him. 2 ground ball outs here in the 6th. Top of the order back up with 2 outs as JT Riddle steps in. A double and a run scored in the 1st, grounded out in the 2nd, walked and scored in the 5th. Blue Jays got Guerreri from the Tampa Bay Rays, claimed him off waivers last November. A high chop. Travis has to get rid of it quick and smothered by smoke. And Riddle will reach.
Now the second call once again is the safe call. That is the out safe call at first base. And well, I'm guessing if Smoke secures the throw, he's probably out because he did. He's now safe, right? I'm sure it's going to be ruled a hit, and it is. Second hit of the ball game for JT. 3rd time on base tonight. It's been one of those kinds of nights, hasn't it?
Trust me, I've been there.
9 hits tonight. for the Marlins. 4 of them have come on the infield, in fact.
Brinson's got one of those. Infield single back in the first. A bit of a, I'll put my finger on a little unconventional motion for Guerrero, isn't it? A little like a
all I keep when I see him in his delivery, I keep thinking I want to run. I mean, he looks so slow to home plate. I'm thinking like he's got to be 2+. I'm sure it's a little bit quicker than that, but I bet it's slow. You watch how he sets, but you know, in the theme of Estrada starting tonight, you can't help it. You know, I was actually thinking we've seen some different looking mechanics from the Blue Jays in the first 2 games of the series.
It's almost like when you go to the batting cage, you put the token in and you kind of see the arm grab the ball and then just kind of flip up, you know when it's coming.
Yeah, and there's that like that winding sound of metal, you know, as it's bending.
Right.
And all of a sudden it goes doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
Iron Mike. Watch as he starts his delivery. You feel like he can get a pretty good jump, don't you? Get it up there. He's done a little bit of starting and relieving in the minor leagues. He's got very good minor league numbers. 2.88 ERA over 104 minor league games.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Here comes to Brinson. Runner goes. Foul back. Running the first to running the third, 4 in the 5th for Miami. A 5-run cushion in the 6th inning. Riddle off of first, does not go. Brinson chops it foul outside of third. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the runner goes again. Brinson on the ground to short. Gurriel makes the play over to first, and 6 innings in the books here in Miami. We just met Penelope. Happy early birthday.
Jewish Heritage Day. Purchase a ticket package to receive an exclusive Jewish Heritage Day t-shirt. Enjoy a pregame party in the 5th base presented by Corona Light. Visit Marlins.com, Jewish, for tickets.
Wei-Yin Chen back out to work the 7th. Justin Smoke, Randall Grichuk, Kevin Pillar due up. Up to this point, Chen picking up right where he left off in August. A 1.54 ERA in his last 4. And starting September with 6 innings of 1-run ball.
Well, I'll certainly play off of yesterday. Chen picking up where Dan Straley left off. How about the Marlins starters? The first 2 games. Starts the 7th inning. 14 innings. 8 of them have been 1, 2, 3 innings. I mean, that is just dominant stuff. 6 innings, couple hits tonight. No walks, 6 Ks.
For a look at those August numbers. 188 opponent batting average. He has surrendered 2 hits. For the first 20 batters faced. Brinson makes the play right at him.
I'll tell you what. I think you're going to agree with me, Paul, when I ask you this, but there was one thing that I think the Marlins were really hoping for from Chen tonight. I know, look at the bottom line, he's only given up the 1 earned run in 6+ innings. First thing that comes to my mind based on what we've seen over the last few ball games, efficiency, lengthy starts, the ability to go deep into a ball game. I think yesterday, after the off day, the Marlins had basically reset and that things back to normal, but clearly after yesterday's ball game, last night's ball game, Marlins certainly thinking some things through as far as what the answers in that bullpen might actually be, but Chen is making them easier with each out he gets, the deeper he goes into this game.
Well, he's given the Marlins at least 6 innings 7 times since June 16th. So you go back and count all those up, that's 12 starts. And there's some 5 2/3 mixed in there. So the bottom line is he's getting outs. I mean, again, the numbers are what they are. The home road splits, we've talked about it a million times, but he has really avoided those blow-up starts, really, thankfully.
And he's found his rhythm, particularly at Marlins Park. It seems like it's about ready to carry over to road starts as well. There's some optimism around that, but my goodness, continue to talk about the outside lane, that outer third against the righties, and he continues to dial it up. Let's be honest, I mean, we've seen this now a number of times, 3rd time through, and you start to expect that the opposition will have better passes against him or better at bats. That just has not been the case.
Devin Travis has 2 hits. The rest of the Blue Jays have none. This is Sierra in foul territory. He has retired the last 12. 7 great innings for Wei-Yin Chen.
game. Taking over. Yeah, we taking over the game. Take over. Now we taking over the game. And you know we won't stop. 'Cause we don't stop. Now we taking over the game. Taking over. Yeah, we taking over the game. Take over. 'Cause now we taking over the game. Yeah, we never stop. We don't feel pain.
6-1 the score as we head to the last of the 7th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Craig Minervini here with you. As Wei Yin Chen, 7 very good innings in the books, and perhaps coming back out for the 8th. We shall see. Talking things over with pitching coach Juan Nieves about what's been working tonight and what might still be working if he goes out for the 8th. But first, the Marlins bat. JT Realmuto, Brian Anderson, and Martin Prado. Marlins up 6-1 in good position right now to end their 4-game skid. Inside to JT, who's done his part tonight. Reached base all 3 times. A solo home run to right center field back in the 3rd. Singled and scored in the 5th. Came in on that Martin Prado bases clearing double. Pops this one up. Moving back is Travis to make the play. One away here in the 7th. So an out for Realmuto, but now 8 for his last 19 over his last 4+ games, 4.5 games. He was 0 for 16 with 8 strikeouts in the 4 games prior. So he is back to swinging a hot bat, as are the Marlins. They've got 9 hits tonight. Brian Anderson takes a look at ball 1. StatCast AI powered by AWS. The distribution of balls in play on the ground on the infield for Anderson. Smoke will be responsible for the 12% to the left of Travis.
Tell you what, Anderson over the last few ball games has had his pull swing working. Right center field on around. Quite an impressive batting practice today as they were launching balls up over the seats in left.
Upstairs, 3-1. So you get to September now. I mean, you've been down this road before as a rookie, and Anderson's played just about every day, save for a few games here or there. Different positions, all the stuff that he's been able to do this year. Where's the body at right now?
Well, your body's fatigued and it's probably sore and broken down in some spots, but you're, hopefully mentally tough, and it looks like BA certainly is that. I mean, watching his batting practice today, his work habits over the first 2 games of the series, he's been in a great spot.
Tests right center here, but Grichuk will make the play.
In a lot of ways, the challenge early on in your career is, the mental aspect of the game. I'm sure he's done everything in his power to try to keep himself in shape. But still, that first time through, you've got to be tough. And I think that the swing, like you can almost see it in his approach at plate. He was struggling a week or 2 ago. It was, there's a little, almost like he was trying to create rhythm in his swing. He was moving his hands a lot more and trying to create energy at the dish. Now he looks like he's under control. He's seeing the ball, even slowing the game down just a little bit.
Big swing there by Martin Prado. 0-1. And as his career goes on, as other players' careers go on, you
start to learn the different ways to pace yourself throughout a big league season, I would imagine. Grounded foul. 0-2 to Prado.
Martin, his last bat, first 3-run double for 2 years. You're going to go back to June 26th of 2016 against the Cubs to find the last time he unloaded the bases with a double.
In there for a called strike 3, a 1-2-3-7 for Guerreri. 6-1 Marlins. For the 8th inning. So he gets the ball, and he has gone a season-long 7 1/3 once this year. That was against the Washington Nationals in May. Tonight, thus far, 7 innings, 2 hits, a run, no walks. That's very impressive. 7 strikeouts as well. Gone 8 innings 6 times in his career.
Yeah, all with the Baltimore Orioles. Last time, July 12th, 2015, interestingly enough, against the Washington Nationals.
Strike 2, Russell Martin. Martin, Jansen, and Teoscar Hernandez here in the 8th inning. He's at 93 pitches. Looks like there is some movement in the Marlins bullpen right now. But as we have said all year long, in this ballpark, the Marlins play a different brand of baseball than they do on the road. That's Adam Conley. And I believe Drew Rosinski is the one stretching on the left. But now here we are, back-to-back nights where the starters were deep into the ballgame, and back-to-back nights where the offense provides a little run support. Hopefully, these last 6 outs go a little smoother than last night.
I'll tell you what, Chen and Real Muto have been working very well together tonight. Good rhythm, good timing, going off that outside edge.
Up the middle, Rojas. We check in with Craig.
Thank you, Paul. We've got a special Sunday edition of Marlins Live tomorrow, including a visit with a name that you just say this name and Marlin fans get a smile. I know Todd Hollinsworth will have a smile. Your old pal Mike Mordecai.
Yes,
he used to do these movie reviews where we talked with him. But tomorrow we're going to chat about his big hit in Chicago, of course, in Game 6 that helped the Marlins win the National League Championship Series, and a lot more. He's the quality control coach. What the heck is that? We'll talk about that. Holly, you had a good view of that double, as I recall.
Yes, I did. Running around the bases, I certainly did. I was on first, but Morty launched one into the left center field gap at Wrigley Field.
He's a good guy.
Oh, great guy.
And we'll get to chat with him tomorrow. It'll be fun on Marlins Live.
Looking forward to that, Craig. Thanks so much. All right, Holly, so a quality control coach, just give me a general gist of what that would be.
Well, that's keeping guys like Craig Minervini in line.
Well,
quality control.
Then he deserves a raise.
Of course, I'm just kidding. Well, I think maybe the right way to say this is because I know what I've heard the job is, but it's another opportunity to have a good baseball mind on the bench. I know that there is a label that kind of goes behind it, but quality control coaches, and I've run into a few throughout my career, they do a variety of different things.
Right. Well, that's
so
why I asked.
to try to throw a label at it like he does this, I'm not qualified to really even go there, but I do know that the people who have filled the role bring different qualities to the position.
And control them.
Keep things under control. That's right. Well, what do we know about Morty? I mean, there wasn't a guy on our team that didn't think Mike Mordecai would be a big league manager someday. He kind of was like our second manager, even with our 03 crew, in all honesty. Morty used to walk up and Doug, you see that man over there, like, you know, like he just got his hair cut yesterday, right? Like he did that in 03. He looked exactly the same. Hair's just a little, maybe slightly grayer.
Line out to right field, a base hit for Teoscar Hernandez.
MLB at Bat is your #1 Marlins app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Marlins home screen icons and features such as MLB.tv, Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
Pitcher spot due up. This will be Kendrys Morales. Smoke and Morales, 12 home runs since August 19th. That's 11 games. And there are 10 teams that don't have as many home runs in that span as this tandem. Of course, Morales had that 7-game streak where he hit a home run every day.
Juan Nieves out to talk to Chen, probably passing along a message similar to, we talked about this last night, you mentioned the piece that you'd been reading about mound visits. This mound visit goes something like this. This is your last batter. What do we want to do? How are you going to go about it? Whether you get him or not, this is it. So let it all hang out right here. Make your best pitches against Morales, but the night ends whether you get him out or not. So get after it. Morales 2 for 15 pitch hitting this season. Does have a home run. Has 4 in his career.
Takes a ball outside, 1-0. Mentioned that homer streak. He was 0 for 8 in the 2 games after that. 0 for 3 last night before a single in the 9th inning.
You know, what's so interesting to me is that, you know, we talk about the cat and mouse game that goes on between batters and pitchers, and Chen, they've said it, I don't know, at least over the last 2 or 3 months, the number of times I've talked outer third, and Chen's ability to dominate, hide the ball well, bring the ball back to the corner, pairing that with JT Realmuto, and as we watch him kind of steal strikes, as I like to say. You talk, what's your term?
Presenting strikes. That's from the catcher's perspective.
Well,
right.
I mean, they've got this going on so well right now, but no offense has really forced Chen off his game. I mean, it was like even the approach against Morales, stay away. And yet you continue to see, you know, hitters try to, right-handed hitters, go out to that outside corner and try to, you know, get after it. When he's had to make a pitch, it's been a fastball low and away. We've seen Travis deep fly ball to right. We know how this ballpark plays. If you're going to make a mistake away, because it's hard to go, you know, hit a home run away.
comes the 1-2 pitch. Fouled into the second deck. Well, the 7 2/3 tonight for Wei-Yin Chen, his longest start as a Marlin. His 2 longest starts as a Marlin have come this year. Trying to get through 8. Here it comes. Right side, Prado flips, and Wei-Yin Chen. 8 innings of work. Back-to-back nights where a Marlin starter goes 8. 6-1 here in Miami. Built for baseball. Let's go around baseball. And we check in the Bronx this afternoon. Well, it only makes sense, right? On Labor Day weekend, John Sterling's home run call for that man right there is It's Labor Day. That was all the Yankees needed in a 2-1 win over the Detroit Tigers.
I believe they only had 2 hits in the ball game. Tigers out-hit them, just didn't outscore them.
Yankees have won 11 of 15 and yet still can't seem to make any headway in the AL East as the Red Sox 5-1 on top of the White Sox right now. But here in Miami, Wei-Yin Chen throwing a gem. The major league debut of Jose Fernandez, another call-up for the Toronto Blue Jays. He'll face Austin Dean to lead things off, then Miguel Rojas and Magneuris Sierra.
Fernandez got a good arm. He's had good results in minor leagues this season. 3.45 ERA at AA, moved up to AAA. 2.45 ERA and just under 30 innings of work, 32 strikeouts.
Third pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays. It was Marco Estrada that started. Check that fourth pitcher of the night. 4 1/3 from him. Barnes got the last couple of outs in the 5th. 2 innings from Guerreri, and now Fernandez. Back-to-back major league debuts out of the Blue Jays bullpen. Hashtag welcome to September. Popped up for smoke. Bring up Miguel Rojas. Line out and ground out tonight. After starting second base. Oh, that single in the 4th. Really went over that. He'll never forgive me. line drive to center field. How could I forget? One-0 from Fernandez is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Right back to the screen. 2-1.
Well, the Philadelphia Phillies come to town on Monday. Of course, Phillies, the Braves, maybe the Nationals just a smidge, although they've kind of traded everybody away. Battling out this division, currently in Philadelphia, bottom 8, Cubs up 5-1.
Dribbler, third. Martin, off balance play. Guys getting set for the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Craig intervening Jeff Nelson from center field. We'll hear from Don Mattingly. I'm sure a ton of great things to say about Wei-Yin Chen's performance. And we will break down Real Muto's big offensive season. 18 home runs for him, including the one tonight. Now the Phillies have been they've cooled off as of late, last 3 or so weeks. Running into a bit of a buzzsaw that is the Cubs right now, who have hit their stride. Well, perhaps more on that a little bit later as Sierra grounds out to end the inning. 8 strong from Wei-Yin Chen. 6-1 Marlins. Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lincoln. Join the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Back with you here inside Marlins Park. A 6-1 lead going to the 9th inning. 8 strong from Wei-Yin Chen. Longest start as a Marlin. He gives way for Teheran Guerrero, and Isaac Galloway takes over in left field. So Guerrero will try to get the last 3 outs tonight in his 54th game this season for Miami.
I certainly love the 62 strikeouts in 51 innings of work. Stands out. Always has. We love talking triple-digit velocity. He possesses that. That is fun. He was on a pretty good stretch until the Boston series. Got knocked around a little bit in Boston. It was the day that we started talking about how good the Boston Red Sox hitters were at turning around velocity. proceeded to get 4 hits off of Guerrero.
I recall that night. Gurriel Jr., Devin Travis, and Justin Smoke here in the 9th inning.
He's pitched well at Marlins Park, 2.30 ERA, a bit higher on the road. For his last 21 games here at Marlins Park, a .79 ERA. That's over 22 innings of work, so he's been good. So many of these Marlins have at Marlins Park.
Just caught the black. 3 balls and a strike to Gurriel. And now 3-2. Another good pitch from Guerrero to get right back in the count. Gurriel struck out a couple of times tonight. So a ground out in the 3rd. Guerrero's payoff pitch through the right side for a base hit. The bullpen the last 3 games, it's been a rough go. Marlins have lost all 3 games. Opponents hitting .622. Now part of that would be that 2 1/3 innings on Wednesday against the Red Sox. 13 hits and 11 runs to skew the numbers a little bit, but just a little bit. Marlins, even beyond those 3 games, all of August, a .590 ERA and 87 innings out of the bullpen.
Yeah, there's been one common theme: falling behind hitters. We saw it in the first at bat. Gurriel. JT Realmuto going to go out and talk to Guerrero. Certainly don't want to see things get out of control. Everybody sitting on the edge of their seat despite the 5-run lead after last night. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yes. And what we saw in Boston.
Well, we talked about it a lot in Boston, and I certainly have seen it here through 2 hitters. Falling behind hitters. What hitters do is they shrink the strike zone, and they force you into their strike zone. This is not about velocity. This isn't about how hard you throw. It's about what kind of quality strikes you throw.
Up and in again. 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, Marlins bullpen up right now quickly. You see Adam Conley. He was up just last inning, so I'm sure he's pretty close. Juan Nieves is now making his way out to the mound.
Davis out to talk with Teheran Guerrero. Marlins have had a tough time in 9 innings this year. Major league worst, 6.41 ERA in the 9th inning. Trying to avoid similar issues here tonight with 1 on and nobody out. Last night's hero, Justin Smoke, on deck. But first, the 3-0 pitch to Travis in there for a called strike. Runner goes. Defensive indifference will get Gurriel into scoring position.
Travis taking all the way. his walk last night that set up Smoke grand slam.
Ground to Riddle for out number 1. The Coors Light refreshing finish was a great start for Wei-Yin Chen. He went 8 innings in this ball game, his longest start as a Marlin. No walks and 7 strikeouts.
Paul, it has been 4 years since we've seen the Marlins go back-to-back with 8-inning starts. Go back to 2014. Yeah, that's 4 years. Get out my fingers. Right. It's the New York Mets. Alvarez went 9 innings. Tom Kohler went 8.
And Smoke went deep. A 2-run home run for Justin Smoke to close the gap. Now a 3-run ball game.
Now that theme continues to present itself. Big league hitters hit velocity. They hit velocity in hitters' counts. And again, they continue to shrink the strike zone. That's what you do. In this instance, Smoke sitting nothing but dead red. Why else wouldn't he? That's all you've seen from Guerrero tonight, and you see JT's glove kind of creeping back to the inner third. Smoke all over it. Gonna go upper deck.
So now it's Randall Grichuk. So I'll update that note that I passed along before. Smoke and Morales now have 13 home runs since August 19th. That's now 12 games.
Smoke's home run, 410 feet, 106 miles an hour off the bat.
Team leading 22nd home run. Check that, 23rd home run for Justin Smoke. Line, a little looper, in fact, over the second base bag. Miguel Rojas able to make the play. That is out number 2. So that'll bring up Pilar. Win for Chen and the Marlins. Waiting in the balance.
Smoke is now homered in a 4th consecutive game.
Pilar, drive out to right center field, but Brinson is there to make the catch, and it's a Marlins win. 6-3 the final score. Dominant 8 innings of work from Wei-Yin Chen, who picks up his 6th win of the season. Something of a nail-biter in the 9th inning, but a win nonetheless, as Chen continues to pitch extremely well here at Marlins Park. The success continues. Great in August, and his first start in September.
Well, congratulations to Cy Chen. He was outstanding once again tonight. Mixed his pitches well. The fastball was right where it needed to be. He was everything the Marlins could have hoped for. We talked about it, needing efficiency, meaning length in start. Got that tonight. 8 solid innings, matching his career high. And oh boy, oh by the way, the offense backed it up. They came through with a couple of big hits tonight, including Martin Prado.
Yeah, Martin Prado, his first game off the disabled list in what has been an injury-riddled season for him. But he comes up with the bases-clearing double that really helped to open up the scoring for the Marlins in this ball game. Part of that 4-run 5th inning that turned at the time a 2-1 game into a much more manageable edge for the Marlins, and they win this one 6-3. We check in with Craig.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. Martin, getting back had to be fun for you. I know it's been a frustrating year. How nice was it to get back in there for you guys tonight?
Really happy, man. Just it's really hard to watch from the dugout or whatever, like rehab place that I was the whole year. I see this guy grinding every day, and the least that I can do is just help him. And whatever I was just trying to get healthy and be up there with them. I know they've been through a lot, and not to be able to be part of that is a little like it hurt me a lot.
Well, the good news was that you are back, because when you went out with that injury on August 13th, that quad, it looked like, boy, I hope you're coming back. I hope there's enough time for you to get back. Were you concerned at all?
Yeah, well, that day I thought was, worse than it looks, but thanks to the trainer, like staff and everybody just kept me, like on my feet, and knowing that that was possible to be back before this season was ending, but it's just so happy, like we got a really good team win today.
Yeah, you certainly, especially after the loss last night, and your double was huge. Kind of everybody breathing a sigh of relief on this double. What was the key to that at bat, and how great did that feel to drive in 3?
Like it's been a while since saw live pitching, but I was just kind of like looking for a good pitch and put a good swing on it, and I think he missed inside, and I didn't try to do too much, so it was a good hit right there for the team.
And what was it like on the other side of the diamond for you, first base?
Oh, I was so nervous. Like I didn't
really?
know what. Yeah, I was just kind of like, I've been thinking the whole day, just kind of like, and Bone has been key for me, and trying to tell me a lot of tips that it will help me to be like more agile in our first base. It's a lot of going on, so it's gonna take me a while, but I'm up there for my team, so that's all.
Pretty good in that tag play there.
Yeah, like I jumped for the ball, and my first thought was just stack the guy. So I've been there like in the past. It's been a long time since, but overall, Chan threw the ball really well, and every single guy that we just battled the whole game, good at bats, and that's all we asked for.
Good going, and we avoided the monkey somehow tonight too, so thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Martin Prado, guys, back to you.
Craig Martin, thanks so much. Yes, a good team win is exactly what Martin said. Nice to have him back on a night where the team may be a little bit bigger on September 1st when the rosters expand. But 8 strong from Wei-Yin Chen, who lowers his home ERA to 1.77. Marlins Live postgame show is next.